T-minus a couple of minutes till takeoff. Tiffany.
Hello.
Good queen.
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm tremendous. I've been looking forward to it all day. I can now finally switch off from all my boring stuff.
Yeah.
Pick your brains. Pick your brains.
Please do.
Excellent. First of all, your first day been? What does a day look like in your life?
In my life, well, I usually wake up when my body tells me to. So usually around 6 or 7.
Cool.
Kind of train my body to just wake up naturally and to listen to my body when it wakes up. So I do that, and then I go into my morning routine. I meditate, I journal, I read, and of course I have to have my cup of tea, which is my story in my morning.
Hey, shout out to the tea drinkers in here.
Yeah.
I'm a coffee.
Y'all. So after that, I usually go into working on my business. So it's everything from answering comments to going live, writing on my posts. Yeah, things like that.
Awesome. Making me feel lazy.
I think you are more like a hard worker than I am,
Hey,
honestly.
smoke and mirrors. You look good. Right then, how much time do we have? I was estimating about 40 minutes. How much time?
Yeah, I've got a lot of time. So yeah,
Perfect.
I'm in.
Before you jumped on, I've got, of course, a couple of questions. You know about those, but I really want to
Yeah.
community as well. I know your community and my community could be jumping on this throughout. So I'll be keeping an eye on the questions that pop up.
Good.
If there are any that maybe catch us by surprise.
Yeah, I hope so.
So, as we have started promptly on time, I want to give you kind of 90 seconds elevator pitch to let everyone know who you are, what you do. Don't say why, because I'm going to be asking you that.
Okay. So my name is Tiffany. I currently live in Norway. I am a coach and mentor for women. I'm not like in a category of like a title. So I don't call myself like a relationship coach or a dating coach or things like that.
My bad for pinning that comment in relationship coach.
No problem. No problem. Because I do talk about dating. I do talk about relationships. But my coaching is more of getting women the confidence assertive in their own lives and to realize that they need to be the happiest person on their own before they get into relationships. And own their sexy, become spiritual beings like they're meant to be, like all that stuff too.
Love that.
Yeah.
That's so unique. There's a lot of dating coaches out there. Surprisingly, a lot of men, at least maybe.
Yeah. It's crazy, and it's more women are relationship coaches, so it's kind of like, yeah.
Ironic, it really is. Especially your age, which kind of comes to our first question, quite a personal one, but I think you're happy to share. But what motivated you to do what you do? And if you don't mind giving us a little background, what were you doing before becoming a coach for women?
Yeah, before becoming a coach, I was working in like a drugstore. I was working with makeup. I was working with
legal drugs.
No.
I was gonna
No,
say.
not that
Not enough.
and I was a skin therapist, so I went to school for that, and I actually started my own salon. Like I rented a room to do treatments.
Okay.
So I were, running my own business like from there. And ever since I saw Tony Robbins on stage when I was 18, he was in London, I was there. I just thought that, oh my God, coaching is really like what I want to do with my life.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything until I were about 21, 22, because I didn't have my priorities straight, you know what I'm saying, when I was 18. Yeah. And what motivated me to do what I do now is two things. One of them is watching my mom and dad growing up. They were like always fighting. There were always something happening around them,
I think
which affected.
relate to that. A lot of people can relate to that.
Absolutely. I think it's quite normal, which is a bad thing to say, but it's kind of normal to grow up in a household where, the parents are not happy.
Yeah.
But watching them really, they took out a lot of that stuff out on us kids. So that was the number one time I felt like, okay, something is not right. And I felt like I was really the observer of this situation and of these things.
Yeah.
And I grew up, became my own woman, and I got into 2 unhealthy relationships. So they were not like abusive or something, but it was more like I needed them to validate me all the time. They need to make me happy. Like I was insecure one. Yeah, it was just unhealthy.
And I think there's a lot of people who probably don't realize, because it's hard. And I was speaking to one of my friends, is when you're in that relationship, when you're in love, it's easy for those on the outside to say X, Y, Z. But when you're actually in it, you don't realize how dependent you are on the other person,
It's insane. It's insane. Yeah.
Well, hindsight is 2020, and it's beautiful that you're now taking your experiences and they're not finished. Because how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
24.
24, everyone. What are you doing with your life, hey, everyone else? 24, that's what's up. Like I said, you've got still a lot more learning, just like me and you both.
Absolutely. You started pretty young too, didn't you?
Yeah, no, the beard throws everyone off. 22, I am. 22.
Yeah. I feel like you're never too young to start something.
Yeah.
Like, never. You can start something at 5 and it will be like amazing when you're 10.
That's right. Well, whilst we're on this topic, I didn't kind of let you know in advance, but as I was speaking to people about you were coming on, I knew you were young as well. And a lot of people have been messaging me since we promoted you today. And they wanted to know, I guess, being devil's advocate, and I think you know what question's coming. As a 24-year-old, what gives you the right to be giving relationship advice? Because I think many people argue, and you hear it with life coaches who are,
Yeah.
You've married, have you?
Oh, no. Never been married. Only been in like 2 serious relationships.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
I'd love to know, why are you creditable? Because I get it all the time as well.
Well, I think it's just because of my experience, the way, the things that I've experienced. Like I went into a really serious relationship really young, like at 16, and I'm in with this guy and everything. So it got pretty serious. And I feel like I've always been absorbing this type of knowledge of relationships and of dating and, observing people. So I just feel like I naturally have a lot of knowledge on this subject.
Yeah.
And it's like, I almost feel like I was put on the planet to be a coach and mentor for these kind of stuff, because it's just, I feel like it's just me, So I just know stuff.
No, I love that. And that's my same answer is I almost don't tell people my age, in the sense, not at the beginning anyway. It's the case where if you know your stuff, you know your stuff.
Yeah.
And if you can, regardless, and if anything, that's why people will want to work with you more so.
Absolutely. People connect to you because of your story, not your age. Like it's the biggest myth out there. Like 10-year-old kids that are smarter than 50-year-olds.
Very true.
Yeah.
Just that we've seen that 5 love languages question. I've saved it, and we'll come back to that. But just to finish up on that, I think one of my barriers was I'm too young. I'm off color. I don't have a great beard. I'm not bald. I don't have a PhD. This is what all the other speed reading coaches had on me, and still do. And what I realized was actually the things that make me different actually explain why I'm so successful.
Yeah.
And I think you're exactly the same. I don't think there's many young relationship coaches. I'll get away from that title. Female empowerment coaches. A lot of them have been married and divorced and written multiple books. Absolutely. And starred on Dr. Phil and Oprah.
Yeah. Yeah. True. It's like, I just feel like if you're naturally good at something, then you're meant to be good at that and just embrace that and honor it and just keep going and keep learning. I feel like nobody's ever just outlearned, if I can say that. Is that right? I outlearned.
Finished.
Because
no one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A lot of things I don't know, but you know, and I'm not afraid to admit that, but I also want to learn a lot of new stuff, which is going to be great.
Good, good, and you will, and you will. So,
So,
you know, I'm so glad we covered that, and we've gone into a different area. But now let's get into relationships.
yeah.
I don't mind because everyone was messaging like, Jordan, I didn't expect you to be doing this. You know, this is out of your industry. This is what I love. Because there's other things I want to know. This is why I'm doing this.
Yeah, anything. I'm here.
So the first one, and you know this one is coming. What is the biggest lie that people are led to believe about relationships?
Yeah.
Give us one or two, maybe three.
Yeah. I loved this question because it had me thinking. And the biggest lie is that you have to be each other's everything.
Mm.
That like you are one unit when you're together. Like that's the biggest lie ever in relationships.
Yeah.
And I'm also tell you why in a second, because you're not supposed to do every single thing together. I don't believe that. And I also not don't believe that two people are one. I believe that two whole human beings are individuals, and that they come together and something that they, you know, grow strong in. That's the circle.
Yeah.
And what I also learned to know was from Esther Perel that what creates desire in a relationship is that there are some form of mystery. There are some things you don't know about your partner. There are some things that, you know, when you watch your partner do the things they love,
Yeah.
your eyes are like, oh my gosh, it's like watching Chris Brown on the stage, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like the not being together all the time, keeping things, you know, mysterious is really, really important. So thinking that somebody's going to heal you or fix you when they get into your life is just a misconception.
And really quickly, whilst on that whole mystery thing, and I think everyone can relate, at the beginning of the relationship, it's exciting. It's
Yeah.
sex. There's a mystery, right? It's novelty. And this is why people are like, why did Kevin Hart cheat? Why does Jay-Z cheat on Beyonce? You
Yeah.
know, black people cheat. This is facts. But anyway, but why do these big celebrities with these gorgeous women, superstars who have it all, still cheat? And you know, I know from what I've read is it's
Yeah.
novel, is that human beings, we crave something new, and that we get used to something. Would you say then there's a lot of mystery at the beginning of the relationship, and with time that mystery dies? Am I right in saying that?
I think that's the story we have been telling about relationships,
Hmm.
but I don't believe that it's really true. But I also believe that we have we have some what's it called? We have some work to do when it comes to not falling into that rut, because you know when you're expecting something to just, you know, go all the way down the drain eventually, then it will. But I feel like if you are two people and you know that you want to, you know, make it last, and you have that deep, genuine connection, which is super, by the way, then you will make it work. You will go through those times and be like, okay, hey, something is happening here. We're not where we were like 2 months ago. We need to fix this, you know?
Yeah. And it sounds like, you know, both people have to be self-aware in that relationship to identify that things have gotten stale. Would that be the right term to use? Or
Yeah. Yeah, because we're human beings, you know, we're used to, we are, you know, we're creatures of habits, you know, it's just the way we are built up. But when we know that, it's our responsibility to step the fuck up and actually make some effort for the other person we're with and for ourselves. I feel like a lot of people are just losing themselves in the relationship. And I feel like that's also the main issue, that people do not really connect to who they are anymore.
fascinating. So if there's
Yeah.
one bit of advice that everyone watching can take away, if anyone's in a relationship or about to get into a relationship, how can they keep that mystery? How can they keep that excitement 1 month, 6 months, 1 year in, 10 years in?
Yeah, I would ask myself that exact question. How can I keep the mystery? And write that stuff down. Because mainly like do the stuff you were doing in the beginning, like, because then you're doing, you're not together all the time, and you dress up for each other, you want to feel nice, you want to smell nice. And just answering that question, I think that a lot of people will get surprised by the answers, and then go do that thing, actually take action on it,
Yeah, I like that. And, easily you could have given like a blanket statement, hey, everyone, have a date night, which is the common sense.
It's like, and people are like, yeah, but what are we going to do on this date night? And, date nights get old.
Yeah.
And it's like, people also think that you have to come up with things that that cost money to do something, right? But it's literally just lighting a spark with yourself, and the relationship will be totally different. Like when I work with my women on their confidence and just connecting to their feminine spirit and energy, it's like they get a whole another look on their relationship, because they're so much more connected to themselves.
Yeah.
And then go up just 100 times better for their partner.
That's awesome. And I think that's the great thing, is like you said, not losing yourself in that relationship. And
absolutely.
That in turn has a knock-on effect. You keep making an effort for your partner, one way. One. Brilliant. Yeah. I didn't see any other questions about that topic, so I think you smashed it. Would you say there's any other lies to be covered other than they should be? What about temptation? That you shouldn't be,
Okay, so what do you mean by temptation?
In the sense that, if you're in love with someone, your eyes should not wander. I think as men anyway, at least on myself, we put self-imposed pressure, okay, I'm with this person, why do I still find people attractive? And I think we're led to believe that when we're in a relationship, all temptation should evaporate. Do you think there's some cases where that is, or do you think it's inevitable?
I think that's a huge lie.
Yeah.
I can speak for myself too. Like, I would never be in a relationship where, I wouldn't be allowed to find other people attractive, because it's natural to who we are, and as sexual and spiritual human beings, that's just the way we, our body works. So why?
Jordan's out. There's Chris Brown. And I compete. We just can't.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I think that when people think about that, to the partner, if there are women or men out there who are like, yeah, but when my woman or my man is watching all these other women, then I'm like, well, dig into that feeling. Like, where is that coming from? Because I know that it's coming from some kind of insecurity, some kind of experience that is not healed. You know what I'm saying?
Of course. Yeah. I do. And that leads us perfectly to one, which is when, and this is for the men, okay? So this is for all the men watching, okay? When a man is in a relationship, we occasionally like other girls' photos, okay? Now, I know for a fact, we're not trying to slide in any DMs. We're scrolling for our feed. We see a beautiful girl, maybe in a bikini, maybe it's an old friend, double tap it, we move on. A couple minutes later, we DM from our girlfriend saying, I was looking at my liked feed, which I never look at, and I saw that you liked this girl's photo.
Yeah.
Are men allowed to or not allowed to? What are your thoughts on guys liking other girls' photos when they're in a relationship?
I think you're absolutely allowed to. Absolutely. Like, that's almost like saying that you can't look at somebody because they're attractive. But the thing is, it's all about where it's coming from in your mind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, because when I like a photo of a guy, I'm like, I don't think about that like 10 seconds after, or for a lot of days after. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's all where that is coming from. And so men, like, do us a favor. You could seriously ask yourself that question if you're in a relationship right now, and like, why am I liking other girls' photos? And if it's like, well, it's just, I just do it and then I don't think about it, then you're completely allowed to. But if you feel like if you act on it, if it's okay to follow too. Like, I don't mind that. But if you like feel like you need to speak to that woman or like do anything more, then I would start like asking myself, okay, why do I feel the need to actually talk to another woman that I find attractive? Instead of, it's just where it comes from in your heart and in your mind.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And those watching, I want to throw it your way. Do you think it's okay for your, and we're going to say men, let's just paint ourselves as a bad light. Is it okay for your man to like us to say yes or no in the comments? And if you're a guy, it's okay for us guys. Tiffany, you said it best, is you have to evaluate yourself. There's a thin line between liking a photo, DMing, and taking it that step further.
Yeah, and it's I remember I read something about, why oh, I just totally forgot what I was about to say. Like something just crashed in
my tooth.
Boom. Yeah, sorry. Probably get.
But that's really cool. That's really great insight. It really is. And now we're going to move on to a different book. What do you think about monogamy versus? I got this so on the intro. Is it?
Yeah. I think it's polyamorous. Yeah.
Yes, polyamorous. So, could you explain the two different terms for those watching? What the two are, and what are are we monogamous beings?
Yeah. Okay. So monogamy is when you feel like you're meant to be with only one person for the rest of your life. And polyamorous human beings are people who enjoy either the company of or sexual endeavors with other, basically. So they have multiple partners. That's what I'm going to say. Yeah. And my views on that. Well, it's kind of interesting. Like I've really gotten into reading more about polyamorous people and polyamorous relationships.
Yeah.
I really don't know that much about it, but it's an interesting thing. And I feel like I can't say we're one or the other, but I feel like we can be both. Like we can be either or, whatever, or both, with everything else in life. I feel like we have different preferences.
And you mentioned, with different preferences. Now, I was speaking to someone the other day about social media. The fact that now someone watching this right now can see you're in Norway, right? Ultimately, they could fall in love with you, and they never would have known of you if there wasn't of Instagram. And I would say now, I'm sure there's studies now that polyamorous relationships on the rise because people are now seeing beyond their village that they lived in. Geeky little fact, it's called Dunbar's number. It was the idea that we could only maintain a relationship with 50 people. If you're familiar with this.
Okay.
And
continue.
No problem. So the idea was you could only maintain 50 people because that's how many people you knew around you. Right? But now we live in these global communities where, we can see on Instagram the gorgeous models in Australia, and we can message them and get in touch with them, and people do build relationships through social media now. Do you think then, this is kind of going off task, social media is making it harder for people to stay in relationships, or do you think it's actually helping people find better relationships because they're not limited to the 50 people in their village? They can now get someone who's on their level, above them, or whatever in Australia.
Yeah, I believe both. What you just said. I believe that it's a really good thing for people to actually meet people all over the world that they were never able to meet before. But also it's kind of scary if you don't know what you want and what you need. Like if you're not clear on what you want, what you're looking for, or if you're not clear, if you're in a relationship, you're not clear on your needs or her needs or his needs and what you want out of that, that thing you have, then it's freaking easy to, wander elsewhere. It is. But the problem is that we need to redefine how we look at relationships and make real connection with human beings, like beyond sex, beyond being active, beyond talking to somebody, beyond like just beyond that. It's really like that deep kind of connection with someone that you can't explain. You know, you can ask yourself right now, like, take away the sex, what do you have? Take away the conversations, what do you have? You know what I'm saying? It's just a freaking connection there that you can get with everyone else in this world. So people need to redefine what they want out of a relationship.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was a golden nugget. And no one's had to pay to. But what we do want to say is, if you do want to work with Tiffany, you know, be sure to hit up in the top left. You should be able to check out her profile. Can they just DM you if they want to get in touch?
DM me, of course.
I just want to put that in there real quick. We've only got a couple more questions, and then we'll let you go. But if you've gained value so far, please hit her up. You know, start a conversation for sure. We've got a really good question, and I know he said it's great insights. So we're going to test you on this, because I've been reading a relationship book. You know, I don't want a relationship. You know, I'm trying to build a business right now. I messed up in my last one, I'll be honest. I got the balance completely wrong. And man enough to say that. But now I'm learning more about love. I'm learning more about relationships, because I want to be ready. You can't expect to find someone and then get ready. What I had in this relationship book was, there's a guy, and his name escapes me. He's married to Megan Good.
Okay, yeah. Oh my gosh, I know his name, but I can't remember it.
So he asked this question to an audience, and once again, those listening, you can also chip in. A show of hands, who has given their password to their phone within the first month of meeting a partner? Right?
Yeah.
And he works mainly with women, and I think maybe 2 women put their hand up out of 100.
Yeah.
Then he asked the women in the audience, how many of you have had sex with a partner within a month of knowing them? And like 90 of the women put their hand up. Probably the other 10 were lying.
Yeah.
So he was saying, you're willing to give your body to a man before you can trust him. And I know the trust, okay, giving a password to your phone, is that a right replication? But what I want to say is, Tiffany, what are your thoughts then on sex? Should there be a timeline? You know, first date, the 90th day, when? I don't know if we're allowed to cover this, but we're doing this. And you can say to cover it. When is it acceptable then to, you know, introduce that intimate moment with someone?
Yeah, this is a hard one, because I don't like rules. I don't like putting boxes. I really don't like telling people the specific way you should follow to get the results. I don't believe that stuff. I believe, you know, connecting to yourself and getting aligned with that person, and then you just have an awesome life. But I have gotten more into that topic after I also saw him talking about that topic. And I really don't know. I really feel like, if you know in your heart, you know.
I'm just search for his name whilst you're talking, but yeah.
Good. If you know in your heart that you want a relationship, man or woman, if you know you want a relationship, then I would wait.
Okay.
But for as long as you feel like you want to, you know. But I feel like there's also something good that he's saying, that, you know, you really get to know a person on a really deeper level if there's not sex involved. You really do, because sex is like something that does be completely present in a moment, and it's a really strong like, not emotion, but it's a really strong desire for things.
Yeah. And they say there's those physiological chemicals, right, transferred when you have sex with someone. They say the sweat, it might be a myth, but like your sweat together, especially in the woman's brain, makes her more attracted to the man. Am I right in saying that?
Oh, I've never heard that. I don't know.
I love reading, and
yeah.
When having sex, there's a chemical release in the woman's body that isn't released in the male's. That's why 9 times out of 10, us guys get the bad rap, because, you know, we jump ship, but the woman's falling for us. But you don't know too much.
Yeah, because I watched a TED talk about this and I was blown away because she talked about, you know, specifically what happens with our hormones, our love hormones, when we have sex in both men and women.
Mm.
So she talked about in women, the hormone that, you know, makes us, no, the hormone inside our body.
Someone's got it. Yeah, Evan Franklin. It's the truth about men. Spot on.
Yeah, exactly.
Ages before marriage. Yes, he does. So that puts into context.
Yeah.
So you were saying, Tiffany. Thank you, Madeline.
It's okay. I was saying that, yes. So when a man and women have sex, a hormone in the woman's body is raising, and she actually becomes more in love when she has sex with the man. But the men, their love hormone decreases when they have sex. There actually is something in waiting to have sex before, because the men's, okay, so sorry if I'm just wobbling, but the men's hormone, where they become in love, peaks when they have worked for something. It peaks when they have kind of haunted the woman. You know what I'm saying?
And it's that
so
we love the chase.
Exactly. It's because it's natural to you, you know? It's natural to men to be the hunters.
Yeah.
So just how we are, and that just blew me away. Because that's like, yeah, we probably should wait to have sex with men before we get into relationships. But there's nothing wrong with having sex. But if you know you want relationship, then you should, you know, ask yourself some more questions.
Interesting. Yeah. This is going to be like the overall kind of message is, as individuals, we need to ask ourselves more questions.
Yes.
Of what we do and what we don't want.
We do. I ask myself questions every single day to keep growing and to keep learning and to keep serving, you know? We just have to.
Fascinating. So the takeaway message on that topic is us men need to keep chasing.
Yeah.
And women, oh, I hate to say it, but you need to sustain, resist.
Keep it in the
pants. Yeah. But ultimately, like you said, it's down to the individual, you know?
Yeah.
But once you understand what's going on, you then, I guess, have to assess the consequences, right? Yeah, like Ty said, self-awareness is key.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, self-awareness is key, and I know a lot of people hear that all over the internet, but like, really take that to heart, you know? Really become self-aware in every single area in your life, or what's been going on lately with your life. Yeah. Get self-aware of that.
100%. 100%. Love. Those were all the questions I really had, and I feel like we can talk forever. Yeah. But I'm really conscious of your time because, of course, people normally pay you for this. You know, people usually pay, and you are, as we've seen, extremely good. I've done a lot of interviews on the other end, and it's easy to waffle. Yep. You've done none of that tonight, seriously, Tiffany. I can't wait to see the feedback, the responses. We'll save this video.
Yeah, absolutely.
See if I can download it. I'm pretty sure I can.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there'll be a part 2.
Yeah, there better.
Oh, geez, there better be.
Yep. People gotta know, you know what I'm saying? It's so important.
Of course, and I think at our young age, because my following is young, I've got some older people as well, and yours too, is we shouldn't be looking for relationship coaches. You know, it's like, you know, we're young. We don't need relationship coaches, you know. We haven't had a divorce yet. But the idea is start it early. It's just that business, right? Yeah,
you have to like break that pattern. You know? We have to break that pattern somewhere. And whether or not you're just working with the coach, follow some coaches and like get their insight and do the work that they put out for free, because we do a lot of work for free. Like in all of my posts, it's like something that you can do for yourself in your own life. So it's like, if you want to improve your relationship, if you want to improve your dating game, if you want to improve yourself, just take fucking action on it. That's what you need to do.
We don't swear on this fucking show. How dare you? No, I'm joking.
Yeah. I swear all the time.
Me and you both. And I always say, you know, what I do, people either like the fact I do, but or they don't, you know, but the message is still the same.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just before we wrap up and I give you that stage to kind of promote whatever you've got coming out, what I really want people to understand is when you're looking to get a coach or study relationship, or study women, study men, you shouldn't be ashamed of this, because you will go to the gym to get better. You'll watch videos to get a better physique. You will study to get better grades. So why not study love? Why not study relationships if you want to get better relationships, right?
Like, I promise, you know, for the men, like, women will thank you
Yeah.
if you go with some coaches. And men also will, you know, women will thank, you know, the woman will thank their men, but the men will also thank their women, their ladies, if they heal all their shit before getting into a relationship. Like, emotional baggage is not a good thing to keep with you in a new relationship, because it will always show. It will always show.